Ever since Kylian Mbappé joined Real Madrid, the club has been living through a roller coaster of emotions. From the frenzy of excitement and the promise of a terrifying, unstoppable attack, to the harsh reality of a season without a single trophy. From hope to disappointment. And for some, it was Mbappé's very arrival that shattered the balance of a team that had been running smoothly. Mbappé has heard all the criticism. He knows exactly what's being said. Yet he has remained silent, refusing to respond. Instead, a new version of Mbappé is slowly beginning to take shape. From the very start, Kylian Mbappé was something extraordinary, a prodigy who became a global superstar while still a teenager, tipped to be the one who would carry football's crown after Messi and Ronaldo. But now, at 26, nearly a decade since he burst into the spotlight at Monaco, those expectations remain unfulfilled. No Ballon d'Or, no Champions League. He left Paris Saint-Germain with one mission, to rise higher and finally conquer Europe. And where better than Real Madrid, the undisputed kings of the Champions League? But football loves its ironies. While Madrid ended the season empty-handed, his old club went on to conquer everything there was to win in Europe. Suddenly, the narrative shifted. Perhaps Mbappé himself was the problem. That argument gained even more weight when you look at the squad. Madrid already had too many players who mirrored his style. Vinícius Jr, for example, less prolific in front of goal, but more unpredictable, more dangerous with the ball at his feet. And then there's Rodrygo, caught in the same storm. Now, Xabi Alonso faces one of the toughest challenges in modern football: how to balance the minutes, the roles, and the egos of these stars. Mbappé is at his very best when he plays off the left wing. That's where he can cut inside, unleash his pace, and especially use those explosive short bursts of acceleration to leave defenders for dead. He needs space to operate, and when he's forced into a central striker role, much of what makes him so devastating is stripped away. This was the same dilemma Paris Saint-Germain faced. They had to adapt in order to maximize his talent and to keep him happy. Mbappé himself once hinted at it, saying he felt far more comfortable and effective with France, where Olivier Giroud's presence created the space he thrives in. This is something that should have been carefully thought through before his move to Real Madrid. But perhaps the club's allure was simply too irresistible. For Los Blancos, the thinking seemed to be, sign Mbappé first, figure out the details later. Reality, however, was far more complicated. Slotting him in wasn't nearly as smooth as Florentino Perez might have imagined. On top of that, the club underestimated the hole left by Toni Kroos's retirement, with no true successor to fill the void. And so all those issues landed squarely on the desk of Carlo Ancelotti. The legendary coach, with all his wisdom and adaptability, worked tirelessly to patch the gaps and find solutions, but it was an impossible puzzle to solve before he finally stepped away. At PSG, things had always been different. If Mbappé wasn't satisfied, it was the club that bent to accommodate him. From the coach to the president, everyone adjusted to his demands. His preferred position, priority in receiving the ball, freedom from pressing duties off the ball, even matters beyond the pitch. Mbappé often had the final word. The story of Mbappé at Real Madrid is completely different. Here, no one hands him privileges like at PSG. At this club, if you're a superstar and you can't deliver, you'll be pushed aside. And yet, what we've seen from Mbappé in Madrid doesn't resemble the stereotype of his character. There have been no tantrums, no demands. Instead, he has shown a quiet determination to adapt, to improve, and to truly integrate into the team. In other words, Mbappé has chosen to confront his problems head-on. If he can't play in his favorite position out wide, and has to lead the line as a central striker, then he plays as a central striker. If he's no longer exempt from pressing, then he presses. Over and over, Mbappé has tried to evolve his game. Perhaps, just perhaps, this signals a shift in his mindset, a step away from the individual ego that once defined him. Part of this change may come from watching the transformation of PSG after his departure. Without him, they became a more united, hard-working side, a collective that fought as one, instead of a group of individual stars each chasing their own spotlight. And that unity delivered silverware. It's something Mbappé might never have fully grasped, even when Luis Enrique publicly demanded more defensive effort from him. But seeing PSG succeed without him, that was the wake-up call. The other source of this shift is closer to his heart: Cristiano Ronaldo. Mbappé's idol didn't stay the same player throughout his career. Ronaldo reinvented himself, first as a flying winger, then as an inside forward, eventually as a central striker. Under Zinedine Zidane's guidance, he adapted to the demands of the game, prioritizing effectiveness over personal preference. It wasn't always about what he enjoyed most, it was about what the team needed and what brought results. Mbappé's transformation began this past summer. He started by focusing on building strength. Even after missing a few games at the Club World Cup due to food poisoning, he threw himself straight back into the gym. When he returned at the start of this season, he looked different: thicker, stronger, more muscular. And it wasn't just for show. This physical shift was designed to prepare him for a new role, one that would demand more than just sprinting down the left flank. Because playing through the middle for Mbappé doesn't simply mean being a classic number 9, a poacher waiting in the box. It means becoming a more complete forward, linking play, combining with teammates, dropping deeper to receive the ball, and driving the team forward. The signs of this evolution became clearer when he requested a change of shirt number, from the iconic number 9 he wore in his debut season to the number 10. For Xabi Alonso, this wasn't just a marketing move. The number 10 at Real Madrid carries weight. It carries responsibility. It symbolizes a player capable of inheriting greatness, much like Luka Modric did before. Mbappé knew that, and still chose it because he wanted to shape his influence in that same way. He has studied Ronaldo's mentality, yes, but in truth, the player he now seems to be modeling himself after is Karim Benzema. Within Alonso's experimental systems, as Madrid search for their new tactical identity, Mbappé has begun to show flashes of that same adaptability, intelligence, and selflessness. In the past, his game was all about stretching the pitch, hugging the left touchline, and hunting for space to exploit with raw pace. But that often clashed with the zones where Vinicius, Rodrygo, or any other winger operated. Meanwhile, standing still inside the penalty area, waiting for service, doesn't suit him either. He isn't built for aerial duels or constant physical wrestling with defenders. Doing that leaves him lost in crowded defenses, swallowed up by numbers. Now that evolution is becoming clear. No longer just standing around waiting for service or darting into space, Mbappé is deliberately dropping deeper, into the pockets just outside the box, receiving the ball, linking up with teammates, and orchestrating attacks. This new movement surprises defenders, who suddenly find the Frenchman positioned between the lines. His added muscle and strength have given him the ability to hold off challenges with his back to goal, something that was once a weakness. And when defenders collapse on him, it opens up space elsewhere. Madrid can exploit those gaps, just as they once did with Karim Benzema, while Mbappé himself times his runs to spin off and finish from cutbacks. It's a style of play that feels like déjà vu for Madridistas, a role Benzema mastered, now being reimagined by their new star. But there's also a difference. Mbappé still has one weapon Benzema never possessed: sheer, blistering pace. Even with his back to goal, he can spin his marker, accelerate in an instant, and unleash a finish, like the goal he scored against Real Oviedo in the second round. And perhaps most surprising of all, we now see a Mbappé who runs more, presses harder, and fights to win the ball back. What used to be considered a luxury in his game has suddenly become a feature. His defensive effort has genuinely shocked people, and the numbers prove it. Real Madrid's ball recovery rate has climbed significantly since his arrival. By redefining himself as a central striker who often drops deep, Kylian Mbappé has helped Xabi Alonso resolve the biggest tactical headache in Madrid's system: the positional clash and overlapping tendencies between Vinicius and Mbappé. Had things continued as before, this issue would have remained an unsolvable riddle. But the Frenchman has answered it himself, transforming his game to fit the team's new reality. Young forward Gonzalo Garcia, once seen as the natural solution to ease that overlap, now finds his opportunities reduced, as the conflict between Vinicius and Mbappé has already been ironed out. With this adjustment, the 4-3-3 system once again has the space to function properly. From this point, anyone still claiming that Mbappé is a problem for Real Madrid must reconsider. This version of him is a completely different player. Yet, it's not a finished product. It still needs to be tested over time, and the upcoming clash with Barcelona will provide the clearest measure. While Alonso has solved the positional puzzle up front, that doesn't mean Real Madrid has suddenly regained its peak, dominant form. Flaws remain, especially in midfield organization, as the team continues searching for a true conductor capable of dictating rhythm and circulation. That challenge is still unsolved. But regardless, Mbappé's adaptation and the fact that he keeps scoring consistently marks a significant first step in Alonso's project.